Hello everyone.
Hello everybody.
Last week we discussed the issue of how do I start on the contemplative journey. Touched on that, and we thought that one of the questions that we've received over the last couple of weeks ties in beautifully into that issue. And the question is, I'm on this journey now. I'm on the contemplative journey. This spirituality means a lot to me, but my marriage partner or my life partner or somebody very important to me, he or she isn't on the same journey. How do I handle that?
Or is it even possible
Yes.
to be in such a relationship?
And we wait what you are saying about the issue.
Well, I'm very thankful that I don't have that problem, and I think it's such a privilege to be with someone, with your partner on the same journey. And I think it's something that we saw, and that was a big issue when we attended the living school. We attended it as a couple, but there were many people that were there, people, married people, people in long-term relationships that were there on their own, and who confessed to not having partners that share their contemplative journey. And it really was clear that it is a difficult path.
Yeah.
That there are many issues that they struggle with. I think one could also take it to a wider perspective in terms of, for us, we would look at the perspective of living contemplatively in a society or in an environment where it is not the norm, not the standard way of living your religion.
Yes.
And in a sense that is also a lonely journey, because you have a different vocabulary, different experiences, different view, image of God, and that I think we can relate to that problem in terms of the wider perspective.
Yeah. And when we talk of a problem, it's not a problem as if it's the end of the world. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
In a lot of ways, and there might be levels of challenges. It can be that it is really challenging when the life partner is really opposed
Yes.
to what you believe.
Yes. It also makes me realize that it can also be, it's not just if you're on the contemplative journey and your partner is not, but it can also be in situations where it's two different religions,
Yes.
two different cultures. Those types of relationships has many more challenges, I think, than when people come from the same background, the same experiences, the same religion.
Yeah.
It just has many more hurdles to cross.
Yeah.
But
simultaneously, it can be quite enriching.
And that's where the openness and the stance towards each other would be very important. If there is a room for allowing you to believe the way you do or live the way you feel that you should be, then there is a middle ground.
Yeah.
There is a meeting in the middle, and you can talk about that and find somewhere where it would be safe for both partners.
Yeah.
But like you say, if it's in a relationship where there is a feeling of opposition or real
animosity,
towards the way that you might have been on the same journey for a long time, and you moved towards the contemplative, and it's actually, your partner might be feeling fearful of this new way that you are now on,
Yeah.
and opposing that in that sense.
Yeah.
So there are many. I think it would be a unique situation for every relationship, but it will be good to talk about that and the way forward for people in such relations. I don't have a ready answer.
Yes. I think a few things that might help. When we talk of contemplative spirituality, we're not here to advocate that as the one and only and correct spirituality.
Mm-mm.
There are many ways people experience God. But if you've discovered this to be a very meaning spirituality and it is very helpful for you, then obviously you want to go deeper and you need a space where you can share that with other people. It can be very helpful to have conversations with your partner in a setting where you enrich each other, even though you're on different paths. That can be the one option. It can be that when you constantly meeting opposition for whatever reason, is that will set you on a path of discernment. Does this help me to really get in touch with my deeper essence and my feelings on a wide range of issues?
Yeah.
So that might start a process where you look wider at the relationship itself.
Yeah, I think also it's important for me to say that I don't see the contemplative spirituality as a way of practicing religion.
Yes.
For me,
as another type of religion.
It is a stance towards life. It is a way of seeing God and life that does not need to oppose any other religion.
Yeah.
Any other stance.
It is the way you live your life.
Yes, it is. It's totally a philosophy, a life philosophy, and it is one that comes from a place of unity, of harmony, inclusivity, of love. So those concepts do not need to be put in a box and called contemplative spirituality. So in terms of that, it doesn't need to threaten somebody when you are living these principles.
Yes.
I think what might be often the situation is that you find this that you've been searching for such a long time, and you feel that you have found this, the pearl of great price, and you want to share this with everybody, and you almost on a mission to save the world for the contemplative spirituality, which can make people and your partner also go
on the defense.
So I think maybe we can look at it. There's that one quote that you read for us, that it's not our responsibility to make other people see the value of this truth that we are living. It is only our responsibility to live that truth.
Yes.
And to be a model of that truth.
Yeah.
We do not have the responsibility of making other people see this light that we feel that we now have.
Yeah. Because the aim in contemplative spirituality, Richard Rohr has a beautiful way of putting it. He says, this type of living isn't taught but caught.
Yes, I remember that.
It's not something that you hammer into somebody and say, you better start believing it in this way. This is the only...
further along the road, and
no.
If you grow spiritually, then you will eventually get to where I am.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
And it ties into that lifestyle. Our only responsibility is to live according to those principles that we love and are meaningful to us.
Yeah.
And create space for everybody in terms of that. That's our biggest responsibility. So it's not so much in the traditional sense going out and converting people. It is a lifestyle and living a life out of a deep sense of security and of love. That is the main purpose.
So somehow, to be in a conversation where these principles, that what's living in your heart, can be conveyed without the other person feeling that you want them to come over to your side, would be the aim. And sometimes we have to really go very carefully into that night, because people feel very threatened by it. And like I say, often there's also the problem that they don't really know what it's about, and anything that's strange to us, we are afraid of. So it might also be helpful to see if your partner will come along to, say, a retreat that you go on, or
because we've experienced that.
Where somebody brought her life partner, and for them it helped so much, because there was a realization that there's nothing strange going on. There is, and that made a big difference. So there is that finding a middle ground. But also then coming from a place where you are not trying to convert.
Yes.
Maybe just what would be really important is to have a community.
I think that is important. It is enriching and challenging to be in a conversation where you constantly have to explain certain things about your spirituality. And for that reason, it is very helpful if you have a setting where Matilda and I often use the phrase where you can interact, talk, be without the handbrake on, or being guarded, or being careful as to what you say, but where you can express yourself, and where there are people who's on the same journey, and where you can share authors and experiences and so on. I think it is extremely important. And we before COVID, we had plans of helping these little communities all over the country to be in closer contact. With a move now imminent, it might be put on hold again, but that's a dream of ours, to that community of contemplatives, to create such a space where you come from, settings where you feel lonely on the journey, to have such a community where you can
attend
and discuss these things.
I think you also mentioned that this was also actually a problem that Jesus had.
Yes. Reading the Gospels, and especially the Gospel of John, all the Gospels talk of that, of Jesus's family not understanding what he was busy doing. And then in John 7 in particular, where it's the Feast of the Tabernacle, and his brothers almost mockingly telling Jesus, if you're a public figure, why don't you go up to Jerusalem and join the festivities there? Jesus knew there was such a lot of opposition to his message that he might even die when he goes up. But his brothers said, you are proclaiming all of this, and you're a public figure, but now you don't appear in public. Don't you think you should go up? And then Jesus says, no, it's not my time. This time around, I'm not going up to Jerusalem. But it's this misunderstanding, this loneliness of Jesus on his journey, and with his brothers not on the same page that he is. So I think Jesus can fully relate when we in situations where we feel alone and misunderstood.
But what was interesting is that Jesus just answered them truthfully, and
Yes.
and his boundaries were his boundaries.
Yes.
And I think it's important for us to know how far we can compromise.
Yes.
In terms of what we need on this journey, the time that you need for your formal practices, the time that you need for your community. And I think it would be important to share that with your partner and really make sure that at least that
Is honored.
is honored.
Yeah.
I think we have to find the middle ground, but we also have to know what we are trying to protect.
Yeah. And in that sense, we talked of a process of discernment. And on previous occasions, we also spoke about the important role a spiritual director can play in such a situation. Somebody who journeys along with you and who listens intently and trying to read what is happening in your life and what is opening up in terms of that. So it can also having a community, but it can also be quite helpful to have a spiritual director, and when you have a spiritual director, to discuss these things with him or her.
We would really like to hear from you if you live in a community or a setting where you have this specific situation and how you handle it, what's been helpful to you. We would really like to share it with the others. Because it's really not an easy road. But saying that, we also keep saying that what's in the road is the road.
What's in the way.
In the way is the way.
Yeah.
So,
But do not forsake what is really dear to you.
And to live it as a life principle, and not so much as a type of religion, a practicing of a religion, because it takes away that naming. It gives you a universal language on which to stand. Love is love is love.
Yes. Yes.
And I think if we can come from there, we can find the middle ground more easily.
Yeah. How we love one thing is how we love everything.
Yes.
Yeah. So please feel free to give feedback, give pointers as to what is helping you in such a situation. We've spoken out of our experience as to what we've seen and heard and experienced, but we're open and susceptible to anything that can be offered and that can be helpful. Thank you for the wider conversation. It is really exciting, and thank you that you are part of it.
Have a lovely week, everybody.
Keep well. Bye-bye.
Bye.